the hot, hazy, humid time of summer now. The end of June, and the temperatures are already going to start hitting the 90s. You did all your planting, you bought all your seed, you bought all your seedlings, you prepared the soil, you got everything in the soil, and all you need to do is water. But all your activities in the garden still have to continue. It's maintenance, maintenance, maintenance now, observation, what's going on, what can I do, who's causing me problems. Now is the time you have to go through all of that. So I think what we're going to do is kind of walk around, show you a bunch of different things that you can do right now to keep your garden healthy for the rest of the summer. So when you talk about planting squash, they always talk about planting in the hills, so many seeds per hill. At our garden, we plant everything in rows. But this is what they mean when they're talking about a hill. It's a slightly raised area, and in the center of it, you plant 4 to 5 seed. Once they come up, you give them a couple of weeks, and then you select the 2 best plants and you keep them in the ground, and you remove the other plants so you eliminate some competition, so you stay with just 2 plants per hill. So we have 2 hills here of pumpkin. And the other thing we have is around here is some weeds growing, and you can spend all day pulling them individually by hand, but once you get a large number of weeds growing, you really need to use something like a hoe. And all you do is go just below it and slide, and that kills the weed. That completely eliminates the weed. I know it's already the end of June, and people are thinking, well, you can't plant anything anymore. It's too late in the season. But there's still 112 growing days before our first scheduled or anticipated freeze when the plants will die. And I have a row here of butternut squash. These plants should be able to germinate, grow, and hopefully have more squash in the fall. So if you're a good home gardener, the one big vegetable you have is tomatoes. Traditionally, we stake or we use tomato cages, and what I like to do to tie my tomato plants up is use old gym socks. I take the socks, I cut them into 1-inch rings, and then I cut them open. So now I have 100% cotton ties that I can use on the tomato plants. And the good thing about these is I can untie them, retie them as I need, let them go, and then at the end of the summer, I can throw them in the compost pile. In the community garden for People Helping People, we have 140 tomato plants. So we can't possibly put in 140 stakes. So what we did was adopted what they call the Florida weave, and that is a stake every 3 plants. So what we'll do now is we'll tie a string at 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, go all the way across, and we'll pull the tomatoes into and between the string, and it'll twine up. And as these grow, we'll just keep inserting it into the string, and that'll keep them suspended, and that eliminates the need for so many tomato stakes. But no matter how organic your practices are, you still have to be aware that these bugs, if they get a foothold, are going to kill your plants. And if you don't want to use pesticides, you want to try to stay organic, you can do what we practice here. We use a 2-gallon sprayer and neem oil. In order to make this maximize its effectiveness, what I use is liquid dish detergent. If you spray anything, a liquid fertilizer or a pesticide on anything and walk away, when you come back, you'll see that it beat it up and dried into little rings on your leaves. So you want to break that up, and the way to do that is by using a liquid dish detergent. And the last thing I do is use a mild fungicide, which is ammonia. So this helps with the bacteria that's in the soil and the bacteria that might get onto the leaves of the plants. You shake it all up and then just go out and spray. Try to coat everything, underside of the leaves, everything. Again, what you should focus on is beans because of the Mexican bean beetles, cucumbers because of the cucumber beetle, and the peppo squashes for the squash bugs and bacterial wilt.